The biggest challenge that we're faced as property investors at the moment is serviceability walls. Once you hit that serviceability wall, what do? What we're going to be talking about tonight is no money down deals. We are talking about expensive property developments that this guy, Adrian Cicino, a property developer, he's a buyer's agent that is working with Steve Polisi from a commercial property space. Point of this is he works full time. He doesn't have time to be making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on developments on the side, but he does. Previously, he was a structural engineer, creating infrastructure projects, and now he does developments as a hobby. This is his part-time gig, and the dude makes 500, 600, 700. We're literally going to break down real deals that are happening right now and the way that he's broken them down. He shares everything. We've got all the numbers, and this session is going to be super valuable. So it's talking to stuff that takes years of practice to get to and education, but it shows you that you can do it. If you invest the time, you can create a different reality for yourself. Hey everyone, my name is Joe Tucker, and together with Jeff Miles, we created Oz Property Investors, and that's what you're listening to right now. It has 76,000 property investors in it, and each week we interview top property experts to unpack how they are succeeding in the property investment space, and tonight is no different. Adrian Cicino is an absolute awesome gentleman to be dealing with. He has crushed the deals that he is doing at the moment. He is from Assured Developments, and jump into this session because you are going to learn something today. Let's do it. It's the start of buying this first no money down deal. Because it sounds silly, but it's the truth. So give us the snapshot. What happened? Give us the story.
It was a photo of Adrian in front of a Lamborghini, wasn't it, on social media? And then the leads just popped in.
Yeah, the Lamborghini was gold too. My gold Lamborghini.
Gold Lamborghini. Yes.
Definitely not that. No. Yeah, look, the first deal, the stars kind of aligned, Joe. I know it's a bit cliche saying that, but it kind of did. I went through all the, kind of went through the training, did the courses, understood how to do due diligence, who to talk to in my kind of patch, my area that I was going to kind of look at. And then once I got to that point where I was really comfortable, ready to go, had things, had structures and companies set up, everything you need to start out. Just so happened that I kind of had an acquaintance that I knew that sold a business, had a bit of money, bought a commercial property through Steve, and was kind of thinking, well, what am I going to do with my money now? And he kind of just said, look, what do you think? And I was talking to start it out, I was talking about the commercial property. And then he kind of said, oh yeah, I've been thinking about getting into development. And I was like, well, beauty, I've literally just finished, months and months and months of getting to a point where I'm ready, comfortable to start. We had a bit of a chat on how it would look like, what the returns would look like. I ran him through a few scenarios that I had already looked at and kind of said, look, I think these are close. This is why we would go for one. This is why we wouldn't go for one. Kind of pitched my previous life as an engineer, and like you've already kind of touched on, transfer of skills. I was building $50 million bridges. Now I'm building a $1 million house. Same thing, just the scale is different. And we got to the point where he was comfortable, ready to jump in. He'd been thinking about it, and we teamed up and went for it.
Okay, well, you've jumped to the good parts. Like, I'm interested about like the whole searching phase of how did you go about and find like what the actual. So you said, hey, I've got multiple areas here. I've got 6 areas or 5 areas or 10 areas. Like, how did you think about that to then know, holy shit, I've got a deal here?
Yeah. I also want to reiterate, Adrian set up all these structures and finance and companies and all that stuff first as well. That's the first thing you have to do before you even start looking at the deals.
Yeah, look, it's about, I always wanted to do something around, like the first few around where I lived. I don't know, it's kind of like your first investment property. How many people buy in their backyard? It's kind of that type of thing. And the deals I was looking at were close to working. So I was like, well, I think the numbers work in this area. I just need to find the right deal and make sure the numbers work, the site's right, and I'm comfortable with it. So that's just what I did. I just went out once kind of had an agreement in principle with with my investor on what the deal would look like. And it was a matter of just finding the deal. That's what I did. I
Okay.
set
So
out and
the
just went to
deal,
look for it.
you didn't go out there and find a property and secured that under contract. You said, "Hey, look, I'm educated. I've gone through the process. I've gotten to this point, and then met your investor. Because essentially to run a deal, you need someone to find the deal, and then you need a borrowing ability partner and a cash partner and someone to run the deal. It's essentially those four things: someone to find the deal, someone with cash, and someone with borrowing, and someone to run the deal. In this instance, you're the beginning. You're the someone to find the deal. This guy is the money partner and the borrowing capacity partner, and then you're the fourth component of actually running the deal. So you've got your kind of quadfecta in two people. So someone who you've got a lot of time to find these deals and to run them, and this guy's got. He's just sold his business. He's flat out trying to look for investments and living his best life. He hasn't got the knowledge, the skills, or the time, and he's got the borrowing ability and the service ability. So it's kind of like a perfect pairing.
Yeah. As Adrian mentioned, he actually showed him some the deals that he was looking at. And it's not just, he's not sending a realestate.com link to them, Joe, being like, this looks all right. We should be able to make some money. Like I've seen the spreadsheets, like they are like 7 tabs long and like pages and pages of numbers for feasibility analysis. Like it's not a low level thing. He's really dumping numbers.
Yeah. One of the things that, people that start off in development really struggle with is what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Do you find the deal, then find the investor? Do you have the investor find the deal? Both options work. It's just how do you convince the investor without the deal? And then how do you find the investor? How much time do you have to find the investor once you got your foot on the deal? So, in my case, I had created enough confidence in my investor that they were happy to sit there and wait for the deal and wait for me to bring them a deal.
Yep.
What are some of the accelerators that we can really speed this up? Because you don't want to do it in 30 years. You don't want to do it in 20 years. You want to kind of squeeze this time frame as much as possible. And the way to do that is increase the income and increase the ROI of the investment. And there's only one way to do that is with business or with development, like developing, which is a business in itself.
Yeah, I think people like Adrian as well have a really good background. Like his job, pardon me if I'm wrong, being a civil engineer is literally managing work crews and flows and Gantt charts. And it's pretty much the same job, but on a big, heavy scale. So he's already got 10 years experience of actually doing that. It's just the transference into a slightly smaller scale industry.
Definitely. Transfer of skills was quite easy based on my history.
Right. Okay. Well, I want to learn what the everyday Joe, pardon the pun. Can an everyday Joe do this?
Can the average Joe do this? Yes, 100% they can. It all just comes with, you need the proper learning at the front. You need people to mentor off. You need to read books. You need to do courses. You need to attend live workshops. You need to kind of be in and around the people that are doing this day in, day out, learn from them, and then get your knowledge base up to a point where you're feeling comfortable. You're looking at deals. You're assessing the bottom line number and thinking, okay, would this work if I was to take this on? And I think once you look at a few of those deals and your profit margins are kind of close to where they need to be for the deal to be viable, I think that's when you're kind of ready to take the next step. It's all about problem solving. You're going to have issues. You're going to have problems. You're going to have to talk. You're going to have to talk to consultants. So once you understand how to find the people that have the knowledge, you don't have to have the knowledge, but you just need to know how to find those people. The people that do this every day, the town planners, the architects, the builders, and you can lean on them. So once you get the basic skills under your belt and know who to lean on and create a real good little circle of consultants that you can use, then you're essentially ready to start moving forward and really jumping in.
I think that's the main point, Joe. So Adrian, who already had experience in engineering, is chartered, done it for a long time. He still went and got himself educated. He still did multiple courses and conferences and read all the books and did that. I get sent all the time from clients and that. They go, oh, they send me a resi site. Like, oh, Steve, what do you think of this for development? I'm like, this is the last thing you should be looking at. Realestate.com is the last thing you should be doing before you're looking at doing a development.
Yeah, without creating that base, you're going to get things wrong. And if you're trying to get people involved and do no money down deals, it's one way to piss people off and lose a lot of money. So that's what you do not want to do, because your development journey will be very short.
Southern Highlands, New South Wales, dual occupancy. What's the interest? Is there any interesting story behind this one? Like, give us some of the fun stuff of this one.
This one here was an on-market deal. It was one that sat on the market for a while. It was a couple of months. Now, it was one of the scenarios that I kind of knew what I could do with the site. Again, talked to my town planner, talked to my architect, ticked the boxes, and it was a case of, why is nobody else seeing the opportunity that I'm seeing? Look, the house itself, very bland, landscaping very poor. Probably didn't present that well, but I wasn't buying it for how it presented. I was buying it because what the site could provide. So maybe it's just, the treasure being in the eye of the beholder. I kind of saw what other people didn't with this opportunity.
Yeah. What I like about this site, just looking at it here, good land size. Obviously, how many square meters is it, if you remember off the top of your head?
It's just over 1,300.
1,300 square meters, and then 30, 35, 40 frontage? Massive frontage.
40, 45, 46 meter frontage.
Oh, okay.
That's rare to find a frontage like that. So awesome. Okay, cool. And oh, sweet. So we've got this little, I guess the key point is we've got this little outhouse. What is this, a garage?
Yeah, it was kind of like a garage converted studio type of thing. But yeah, that's going to get knocked down.
And then what are you doing? Tell us.
So we're doing two things. We're renovating the existing house, moving the driveway, which you would have seen that aerials on the right-hand side of the house, moving that to the left-hand side of the existing house. And then we're building a new 4-bedroom, 3-bath, double-car garage, single-story house to the right of the existing dwelling.
Random question. When you're doing the renovation of an existing property, do you wait while you're doing the construction of the new one to try to double up on tradesmen? Like, so when you get the painters or the kitchen guys, like, hey, do two?
Yep. Yeah, you get the best efficiency in your pricing to keep them the same, because this particular opportunity, it's a dual occupancy subdivision, not a normal subdivision. So that right-hand side block of land doesn't actually meet the minimum standard to do a clean subdivision. So it depends on the situation. If I had the minimum 700 square meters, okay? So if I had a 700 and a 700, you do the renovation, chop the block off, sell it as quick as possible. Get money back in your pocket. You're minimizing your interest accumulation. But in this case, couldn't do that. So the next best thing is just hold the plan for the renovation and do all the works as the tradesmen come in and do the new build.
Do you think that's maybe why some of the developers just walked away? They went, oh, cool, I know I need 700 meters. I can't do that, and just didn't look into it further. Whereas you've actually done the work and spoke to the town planners, being like, hey, I think we can actually do something here.
Could well be. I don't know why developers didn't see it. I don't have the answer.
Okay. But I mean, that's like, it's so easy. Like in South Australia, for instance, I've done developments down there. It's 18 meter frontage. 18 meter frontage, 600 square meter block, and you just overlay that filter all the time. And it's so easy to overlook a property that's opposite a park, and you get 10% dispensation. And that was actually the deal that we bought. We bought a corner block, and we got 10% dispensation that allowed us to split it 1 into 3. So everyone was doing the numbers on a 1 into 2, but we saw the value of it a 1 into 3. But it's so easy when you know that a minimum lot size is 700 square meters. Let's draw the plot. Move on to the next one. So that's probably, I reckon you're spot on there, Steve. I reckon that's exactly what happened there. So you're able, can you just, I mean, this is going a little bit too deep. So 700 meter square to do a stock standard subdivision, but you can now sell this on 2 separate titles. You'll get 2 separate titles out of this to then sell.
Yep. Yeah. So for a dual occupancy, it has to still be above 600, and it just met the 600.
Oh, beautiful.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, wow. There you go. Normal house.
But every council is different, obviously. But this council, that's what's allowed.
Now we're bringing 5 investment partners into here. How does that work?
Yeah. So this deal has myself and 4 investors in it. 2 of the investors are what we call equity partners. So they're putting cash in, they're on the title, and they're getting a split of the profit at the end. One of those partners is my builder from the first project. So one of my reasons for choosing the builder at the time, not only was he the most competitive, but I built a good relationship with him and talked to him about future joint ventures. He had always thought about it, was interested in it. So I thought, well, that's good, because if I go with him and the relationship continues to blossom, we find another site, I can bring him along. And that's exactly what happened. This site popped up. I brought him up. Let's have a look. As soon as we got there, we had a look. He said, yep, I'm in. So now he's financially invested in the project and he's building the project. So he double dips from the company perspective and from the investment perspective.
And then how does that go? Because that makes it a little awkward in the negotiation of the building costs of him to actually build and develop the actual property. So how does that work?
Yep. So I still get check pricing done by other builders. So still ask other builders for other quotes, and he still needs to be competitive, which he was.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
And he's probably looking long. He's probably looking long term as well, where he's like, "Cool, this is not going to be a one-off thing. I'm going to guarantee myself business and get a piece of the pie moving forward on every single deal."
100%. The exact discussion that we had. The other equity partner, again, somebody that I knew, heard what I was doing, saw the success with the first project. Again, talked about scenarios, talked about returns, how it would work, how the structure set out. Had the risk appetite to it, had the money, and hadn't ever done something, wanted to do something. Same thing, didn't want to buy a resi property or a commercial property and just kind of set it and forget it. They kind of wanted to be a little bit more active and accumulate equity quicker to then do something with. So they jumped on board. And then the last 2 investment partners, one person I used to work with and another investor that I know, that had money in their super fund that, again, getting the standard 8% in their super fund, then getting charged the fees on top of it, whatever the number is. I don't know. But overall, not that fantastic,
Not great.
So how can we improve the super fund return? And again, they were comfortable with it, went through the process, went through how it looked like, talked about the first deal that we had going on. Again, these people are investing. They're investing in me, really. Their comfort level is what I can do for them. So they jumped on board. So four people financially invested, plus myself doing it with the sweat equity and the knowledge.
First question out the gate: how much money have you put into this deal?
0. Oh, sorry, $1,500. $1,500.
Okay, cool. So purchase price $1 million.
Was that equity that you pulled out of a property, Adrian, or you used hard cold cash?
No, just cash. You look after me, Steve. You look after me.
Okay, so $2 million purchase price, so very similar to the last 2, but the construction cost is a lot less because you're not building 2 assets, right? You're knocking down. There's probably a bit more in the construction cost because less in the construction cost. You're knocking down that little studio thing, but the construction cost on this one just for one dwelling is 1.24. It's probably all those bathrooms. Okay. Holding costs 27, finance costs 33. So these are 2 new things. What are these? 27 and 33. They're new.
Holding costs, land tax charges, depending on when you buy the site, just your standard holding costs, rates, water rates, power bills, that type of thing. And then your finance costs is your application fees to a financier. So we had to go down to financier with this one.
Oh, cool. Okay. And then construction cost is the renovation of the front house. How much is the renovation that you're doing on the property, like ballpark?
Yep. So the split is roughly it's 920, 930 for the house, and the rest is the renovation and the garage. So you're looking at just shy of 300 for the renovation.
Jesus Christ! This is going to be a very nice house after this. Then $300,000 for a reno.
It's a very boring house right now.
Yeah, he's also building premium products, Joe. Whereas I think me and you are used to working in like the affordable price ranges where you build for purpose, not for luxury.
Yeah.
So he's also doing it. I also want to point out, like, these construction costs, he hasn't just made up that number. They're on this spreadsheet, on other tabs, there are like hundreds of items he's went through to get that number. It's not just a thumb suck figure.
Right. Okay, cool. We're looking at the summary page rather than the actual details and stuff, which is boring anyway, but it's necessary.
But
cool.
that's where I find most initial developers fall over, is they just don't know. They'll just go to a builder and like, how much does it cost to build? They're not doing all the other stuff. They're just looking at the build price.
Okay, so how much is
this one here was handy with the renovation, because I dragged the builder through the house and said, okay, what do we need to do? New kitchen, this amount, new flooring, X amount. He was there going 50 grand, 15 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, like putting it there. So we've got another step back. He's looking at it. Yeah. So just give it to me. How much is it going to cost?
Yeah. So how much is it going to cost? So how much are you going to sell the front house for, and how much are you going to sell the new house for?
2.05 mil for the existing house, and 2.4 mil for the new house.
You've really stuffed your commas there, Joe.
Yeah, there's commas. You really, Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Okay. So we've got let's just say 4.5 mil almost, and $625,000 of profit, 17% margin on cost. And what's the time frame to get this done?
13 months.
13 months.
Not a bad little profit margin for 13 months. All right.
13 months. Yep.
Yeah. So how is your involvement in this in regards to how you're getting paid? Is it percentage, project management costs?
Yeah. So this one here is straight profit split. No management fees. The guys using the SMSF, they're getting a fixed interest rate return. So they get paid regardless, and we got to put guarantees in for that. And then the remaining 3 equity partners, being the 2 investors and myself, we have a profit percentage split.
With the guarantee, how do the guarantees work for that investor, for the self-managed? Is that basically a document of you guys saying, hey, if this falls over, we will still owe you this figure?
Yep. Yeah, there's proper loan agreements put in place with them, saying that they're essentially dumbing it down. They're loaning to this corporate entity that is going to pay them a return per annum. And then they've got second mortgage security as well over the site as a backup.
Yeah. And is that like requirement for the SMSF? Or it's
yes,
that is the requirement. Yeah. Okay. Cool.